Hello, welcome to my Substack. I'm sorry I've been away for a while. I've been in an artistic residency for about 2 months, and which means we stay in the places where we will be going to act and do our shows. And we stay sleeping there and rehearsing there and creating. It's kind of a spiritual retreat, but it is an artistic retreat. Um, So you never know. So if you are an event organizer or a cultural agent, and if you have a festival, then consider inviting us in. Our show is called Spantus, and people usually, internationally speaking, people know about this mountain in Japan where the old people go to die. And in Portugal, that's the rural areas, the countryside. It has been desertified, and the old people stood behind. And I live in it. I see every year my neighbors, old people, all dying alone and even without a doctor, and so on. And the show is about this. It has marionettes, uh, and these marionettes are manipulated with a technique that mixes Buto and Tai Chi. It's kind of opposites, and but both are spiritual in tradition. And the technique is Japanese. It's called Bunraku, um, where you transfer your consciousness to the marionette via breath. Breathe with the marionette, and people can uh, one person can be one arm of the marionette, and the arm breathes, the other arm breathes. That breathes. Each member, so the big marionettes, are each member is a person manipulating and transferring, and they breathe together so they can breathe collectively with the group, the individual group that is the marionette. In this case, it's just a body size marionette hybrid. So part of the body of the marionette is our body, and part of our body is the body of the marionette. And we transfer our consciousness to the pinda region of the marionette. Uh, that aside, it's just a curiosity. Uh, I have questions from Nico Blanco. This is the same Nico Blanco, the legend that has been uh, drawing and illustrating and making art that depicts the lunar intelligences, the lords of the lunar mansions. And you can find him in Instagram by Rebel Magi or in Deviant Art. So, this magician and artist that is so tuned to these intelligences that I can look at his drawings and know right away which lunar lord it is without him telling me so. He asks me, "Hi, Andre, I have three questions for you." Here we will be reading one and two because they make a single question. And the third one is for another video. As a music creator and a magician, do you think a versed Kabbalist could bring the effects to the collective throughout his music, achieving effects like altered states of consciousness, implying that the crowd and listeners would not be aligned to the Akashic root? So it means transmissions occur via the Akasha. And he is asking if music alone, without any state of trance from the listener, can induce the cosmic letters, basically. But of course, when the cosmic letters are induced, you are in a trance. In any case, and all states of trance have an Akashic root. But let's not uh, look into this. Observation, he completes. I think some artists that allegedly had synesthesia landed pretty close. Some letters like Pink Floyd, letters M and A, Bee Gees, letters G and A, and Tame Impala, multiple letter multiple letters like E, A, and H. Great musical taste, by the way, and great sensibility in sensing these letters that I find are present as well in these bands that I know well enough. So you are asking me this question likely because you have my book, A Guide to Sphere Quabbalah, in which I apply the rules of tonalism to the Kabbalah and teach how to compose musically via the Kabbalah. Obviously, most readers won't get it anyway unless they take notes and study what is there in practice and experiment mostly. So this question is complex enough for me to take some notes here. I won't go into it in detail in this video because it would be a very long video. But resuming, in the book, the tones, the 10 tones Franz Bardon uses are uh, applied to the spheres, the 10 spheres, each tone one sphere. And the letters that are vibrated in this tone are letters that compose the elements of the planetary sphere, the corresponding planetary sphere. And so you can, in the numbers, as in number Kabbalah, are representative of the spheres and consequently of the tones. And the intervals in tonalism, the intervals also are they bring about the effects of this sphere. So in musical composition, when you are using these intervals, you are playing with the powers of the sphere, and uh, this implies the letters, depending on how you play with it. So number one would be Neptune and Uranus in our scale, and you should have the letter cosmic letter K, T, and U interconnected to form what Neptune brings about. Uh, Two would be Pluto and A, I, double O, and Z, and so on. I won't go into that, as I said, but some of these will be Chinese to most. Uh, it's an expression the Portuguese used because we were very connected to the Chinese, um, but you couldn't understand them, most of us. So, okay, you say that Pink Floyd reminds you of the cosmic letter M, or makes you get in tune with the cosmic letter M, and A. Bee Gees gets you in tune with J, A, and Tame Impala with E, A, and H. So I have taken the opportunity to listen to these bands, and you will only get this, really get this, if you have taken notes while we're studying A Guide to Sphere Kabbalah, or or if you have learned to know by heart which letters correspond to which tones and spheres, and the intervals. So I have taken the opportunity to listen to these bands and uh, Pink Floyd, in terms of intervals, has mainly fourths and fifths. This would be Mars and Jupiter, and then there's color intervals that range. This is generally speaking. They have the octave, the seconds, the three tones, and you when you say M would be an element of Mercury, and A an element of Pluto. But you must take into account the nuances because music is very complex. It is a matter of sensibility mostly. And if you so J is in the fourth and A and I mean that's an A and an E. I and I. And then when you connect J and I, so J is kind of a core interval and I is a color interval. That gives an effect very similar to the M, to the cosmic letter M. As well, the A, that would be in Pluto. If you connect the H, that is in the thirds, and the J in the fourths, again, two intervals used in Pink Floyd, then you get something like the A, cosmic letter A. And the same for Bee Gees. Uh, the J that you felt might be because of the blurring of the B in the thirds and the M in the octave, or the B, the or the A combination of the B in the thirds and the L in the sixths, because Bee Gees use mostly thirds and sixths, and in terms of color seconds and tritones and octaves. I hope I'm not boring you, but this is the question you asked me. Tame Impala, they are a bit more complex generally. Use thirds, fifths, and sometimes major, sometimes minor. We are not getting into that as well. But just so you know the complexity of this, this is about sensibility. The human brain isn't wired to know all this without this great instrument that is sensibility. And in terms of color intervals, they have sevens and twos and nines. So you heard the E could be a combination of the D in the thirds and the nine that's the C and H in the ninth. The A is correct because they use a lot of thirds, and the H they use a lot of it too. Anyway, more than this, we have also to consider the time signatures, and they also work Kabbalistically. Pink Floyd uses mostly 4 by 4, 6 by 8, and sometimes 5 by 4 or 7 by 4, and so on. Bee Gees, they all use 4 by 4 mostly, but then they have variations, like Bee Gees sometimes uses 12 by 8 or 6 by 8, or Tame Impala uses 3 by 4 or 6, 8, and then the they the different moves they make, so like rhythmic moves and effects, there's like blurring or parallel voices, pedals, the loops, and the spacing, modal shifts, whatnot. All of this enters music. So you were saying, well, when you speak of, and I must check again your message because this word in English is complicated to me. Is is it synesthesia, right? Synesthesia. Synesthesia. This is taught. We begin to learn this in initiation into aromatics, and this becomes a whole world in the practice of magical evocation and encloses, completes in the key to the true Quabbalah. We cannot think that magical training is um, like an exact, is mathematical. Magical training is it implies, I mean, the metaphysics in it implies mathematics, of course, but it is a sensible thing. When you are learning to connect colors and sensations and the elements in initiation into aromatics and the concepts that come with the elements and so on, since you are starting to learn to be sensible to how the senses affect one another and how they create impressions in one another and in the intellectual faculties and then if vice versa the intellectual faculties in the senses and everything is you are creating a net, unified net that is reuniting the human being together into what it was primordially. And this is the work of the artist as well, and every work of art, of real art, is magical, and there is no filter to this magic. There is no filter against art. Everyone is permeable to art. And if it is good art, often it cannot be rationalized. You first absorb it, and only then can you rationalize it. And you see, these artists that you talk about, they are transmitting these letters, and they didn't have to learn the theory of the key to the true Quabbalah to do it. They can do this organically. And actually, if you can work the Kabbalah organically as well, at some point, and this is like what they, I remember my Reiki master ages ago, uh, teaching me all the symbols, and I was getting very good using the symbols, the Reiki symbols. And then he said, "Yeah, but you're not a master because a master will not need the symbols anymore. You can simply transmit everything by thought." And that's the Kabbalah too. And that's the artist can do that. Have you thought about it? Art is very important and often overlooked by no, I wouldn't say by magicians because most magicians are artists as well, but magicians in the Franz Bardon tradition kind of are not. I wonder why.